Hey everybody, welcome back. Ooh, we're starting to get a little of the negative complete there. I'm gonna do a Judas run today as we continue on our save file. It's been a lot of fun so far. Here's your seed, Z66L J4PE. If you're playing along, you're gonna need a new save file to really make the most of it, I guess. But yeah, I'm not gonna police your enjoyment. What does it matter if our runs are 1-to-1? You know, we're like, if you're playing the seeds at this point, we're like two old dudes playing chess on a public outdoor chessboard in Central Park. You know, a young whippersnapper, Bruce Pandolfini, coached, gonna come around and be like, oh, well, you should have done knight e5 to knight f2. That wouldn't have worked. Knight f4. Knight f6. I'm trying to, like, in my head, the way a knight moves. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's a move that would get 2 exclamation points after it in the notation. You'd be like, frig off, you little whippersnapper. We're just enjoying life. You know? The chess is only a vessel. You guys live in a city that has outdoor chessboards? We have them. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody use them. And, you know, when I was younger, I was an avid chess player. I always thought that was kind of, like, cool. That you could just go, bring your chess set and go sit down in the park. And then, like, someone would come up and be like, you want to play a game? And then you'd school them because they would be like, this kid's like 12 years old. How am I going to lose to a 12-year-old kid in the game of intellect? But, you know, you don't realize that 12-year-olds have a disproportionate advantage in chess to some extent because, you know, what else do they have to do? Go to school a couple hours a day and then, you know, memorize the first 25 steps of the Sicilian dragon opener. Anyway, the point is, I'm just saying. Wonder what that's going to be for our demographic. Like, straight up, if you could set up like an outdoor Super Smash Brothers setup without it being completely destroyed, I would go down. And I'm in my 50s, 60s, 70s, I would go down there like every day. I would play Donkey Kong, and then, you know, 15-year-olds would come up, hey, Grandpa, Donkey Kong's a C-tier character in Smash 64. And then I would grab them, and I would throw them off the edge, and then when they tried to get back over, I would do a side A overhead smash, spike them to the ground, smash the left bumper on the N64 controller so Donkey Kong does his little donkey shrug, and go, ooh. And then they would be like, please coach me. And I would be like, why? Is there a $4 million invitational happening in Reno, Nevada? And they would be like, yes. And I'd be like, okay. But first, you know, bear with me, kid. I don't know, I've been out of the game a long time. Please, you're the only one who can help me. Oh, but ever since I got down smashed by Captain Falcon and edge guarded by Kirby in the finals 30 years ago, I haven't been able to hold the controller without my hands shaking. And then we'll get through it together, and you'll make it to the finals against, you know, maybe like the protege of the person who beat me 30 years ago. And then it doesn't really matter at that point whether you win or lose because it's been a success story either way. Like, if you win, it's kind of a cheap saccharine ending where you've conquered all of your problems, and, you know, that's great except for the fact that it's a little too convenient. If you lose, you might learn the lesson that, you know, what's important is not that you right the wrong of me having lost the Smash Brothers tournament, but instead that you realize that you can lose the Smash Brothers tournament without it actually ruining your entire life, and isn't that a more important lesson after all? Anyway, so I haven't given this too much thought, but that'd be really cool if it could happen exactly in the way that I've articulated for myself. Anyway. That was like my #1 thing when I was like 14. It's like, I want to live in a city I could bring my chess set outdoors. Now I'm like, you know, we live in a city where there are signs on the electronic parking meters that are like, we don't work anymore because of vandalism, so please just use this app to pay for parking. So I don't think the chess set would do that well. It'd be missing a couple of bishops. And those are the most important piece with my playstyle, so I could not abide. People are always, they're skeptical that I played competitive chess. It's true, I did. I know I act like an idiot on the internet. the truth is, I am an idiot. You just don't have to be that smart to be good at chess. You just have to be good at chess. And practice. I'll tell you straight up, the first tournament I ever won was in like 7th grade. The reason I won was because everybody else that I played against, and they were all, it was an age-gated tournament, but everybody else that I played against either basically had never studied at all, so it's not really fair, or B, exclusively tried to do what's known as the scholar's mate, also known as the queen bishop checkmate, where you pretend to think about these moves, but really you're like, I'm gonna move my queen over here, I'm gonna move my bishop over here, and if they don't stop me, it's checkmate on turn 4, and then they go like, what? And then if the trick is, and this is why it's not played in, you know, the actual competitive meta, it's insanely easy to counter, and if you counter it, all their pieces are out of position, and also it pretty much proves they don't have anything to fall back on. So like, that's all you need. If you want your kid, you know, they need a self-esteem boost, I'm not gonna say put them in competitive chess. That seems a little bit backwards. We probably should have taken Sister Maggie for completion purposes, but we'll take it accidentally, I'm sure, on some deal with the devil. But if you grew up in a school district like mine, if you teach your kid like one proper chess opening and then the relative value of the pieces, they're getting at least a silver. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if I want the nickel that bad. There's also like, I think there's a weird bimodal distribution in chess of age, or based on age. If like, I used to go to a chess club and once a week, and there would be like old dudes there, you know, people in their 60s, 70s, 80s. I say old dudes as a term of endearment, by the way, not as a pejorative. And some of them were really good. You know, they've been playing for 50 years. Even if they weren't like, you know, super studious of the game, they had played enough to know, like, you know, they had good instincts, let's put it that way. And then there were, you know, middle-aged individuals. People that worked, like, you know, normal jobs, were not retired, playing 2 hours of chess a day by mail. And then there were kids. People under the age of 16. You did not have to worry at all about playing anybody who was middle-aged. Sincerely. If you had put in the work, you're gonna beat the 30-year-olds, you're gonna beat the 40-year-olds. Where you ran into a wall was the 60-year-old sharks, and then the 12-year-old kids that are like, I one day will be an international master. And one of the dudes I was in chess club with actually has become, I don't know if he's gotten grandmaster status. This is, by the way, probably a little bit inside baseball. Most people don't really care about Canadian competitive chess, but when I grew up, there were 2 Canadian grandmasters compared to, like, you know, in America there were like 300 or something. Now there's got to be like at least 7 or 8 Canadian grandmasters. It's hard to become a grandmaster. It's based on tournament performance, so you gotta, you know, it's like Fast and the Furious, except it's the slow and the studious. Live your life Alakeen's defense at a time. I don't know if he ever got his grandmaster norms, but please stop moving so quickly. He definitely was like international master status. The downside, of course, is that, you know, chess, it's a little bit bigger now. You know, there's chess tournaments on Twitch, and some of the professional chess players are like borderline celebrities in their own right. Not quite at like the Bobby Fischer level, but, you know, people probably recognize Magnus Carlsen when he's out and about. But like, the dude who always crushed it in my age group has become a grandmaster, but also I'm pretty sure he like works at a bank. Because he's a smart dude, apparently. Never really spoke that much except for getting my butt kicked. And, you know, chess doesn't really pay that well unless you're like literally one of the 10 best players on planet Earth. Even then, you still got to do some private coaching or something. But anyway, that's chess. There's a new segment of Isaac. That's chess. Sometimes people ask, will you ever play chess on Twitch? Absolutely not. There's a few, like, I will play almost anything on Twitch. And, you know, I can say this on YouTube because nobody's listening. I think a lot of Twitch streamers are kind of babies with the way that they react to their chat. It's very juvenile. You know, if somebody enjoys watching you, you know, they've dedicated a few hours to being in your stream and, you know, you entertain them. That doesn't give you an excuse to be rude to them. But if you're like, hey, I think you should move, you know, knight to king 4. You go, no backseating will ever be allowed in this chat. That's the most disrespectful. So, like, for the most part, I consider myself not an infant when it comes to stuff like that. However, there's a couple of game types that, like, I will just not play on Twitch because the backseating gets insane. One of them is Magic, and that's fair. Most of the people watching me play Magic are better than Magic, or better at Magic than I am. But I have to imagine chess is even worse. And it would hurt me more because of the fact that I'm, you know, used to being the best person in many rooms at it. Although if there's ever someone better than you, you know it pretty quickly. That was a little dicey. Well, definitely, I mean, I guess we'll do it this way so that we get to keep our HP. Now, do I want the shovel? No, because it kind of stinks. Let's move along. So far, so good. Just stuff that, like, it's the same. I think playing XCOM on Twitch is about as, like, strategy and tactics heavy as I would ever go. Because I think, I play more strategy games probably than the average person. You know, I played a ton of Into the Breach. It's one of my favorite games of the year. I've done 2 XCOM 2 campaigns. I've done, I don't know, maybe 4 XCOM, and probably like 6 XCOM Long War campaigns on YouTube. And even still, you know, I make mistakes all the time. If you played on Twitch with, like, live feedback, you would probably iron out a lot of the mistakes, but that's also part of the fun. Especially in a game with RNG. Like, there's nothing more thrilling than making a mistake and having it work out thanks to a dice roll. I know a lot of people consider that, like, objectively bad game design. I very much disagree. I love dice rolls. I love the idea that I could maybe even sometimes deliberately be like, so what I should do is get behind this cover, but what I'm gonna do instead is take a 15% chance to kill this alien, and if I miss, I might die, but if I hit, it'll own. You know, that's the kind of style I like. So, you know, it's like, it's weird because I'm playing Darkest Dungeon right now, and there's probably a lot of overlap between people who watch this and people who are watching Darkest Dungeon. I don't mean this as a negative, but you would think from the comments that that series is going horrendously. And I've gotten comments like that from people that are like, I don't watch your series, but apparently it's going really bad. It's like not. We're cruising, we're killing bosses. Occasionally units get stressed out, but I haven't had a unit die in forever. And that's something that happens in that game all the time. Now, we are playing on the easy mode via Radiant, but all I'm saying is, like, it's going just fine. But you would think from the comments that it's going terribly, but I think that it going, like, you making mistakes is part and parcel of the strategy landscape. If you want to watch somebody play the game perfectly, I'm not going to tell you that you're incorrect. You know, you want to watch what you want to watch. I feel it because, like, I watch, it doesn't happen that often anymore because Isaac's kind of waned in popularity, but, you know, sometimes I'll watch Justin, HC Justin, play games on his stream, and he'll be playing Isaac, and he's not a super experienced Isaac player, and he'll, you know, take some damage that I'm like, what are you doing? But you can't stay mad at Justin. For one, it's very selfish to get mad at somebody for playing a video game in an improper way. And two, it's like, Justin, he's just such a nice guy. Like, nothing rattles him. I said it on the show once, but I was watching him play Global Offensive. He's invested. He's good at the game. He gets killed. First thing he says, nice kill. Every time. There's never like, what are you, how did he hit me? And then, like, begrudgingly, like, nice kill. Literally, and he's a better man than I am for this exact reason. Literally, he gets shot in the head. He goes, oh, nice kill. I aspire to that level of, like, sainthood. It's incredible. Now, I will say, after I said it on the show, a day later, Justin tweeted something coincidental, and I do believe it was coincidental, but it was like, I've had a lot of people show up in my chat saying, how do you, you know, maintain the veneer of being such a nice guy on stream, and it's called not being a piece of garbage in real life. I took a little bit of offense to that. Because I'm not a piece of garbage in real life, and I don't think he meant it like that. I put some words in his mouth there, which makes me kind of a garbage person in real life, maybe. Anyway, the point is, Justin, he's a saint. I dropped a bomb by accident there. I aspire to his level of sainthood. I mean that sincerely, you know? I'm an adult. I don't rage at video games. Sometimes I do get frustrated, I think would be the right word. I never throw my controller, but, you know, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore, see ya. It's mostly in NHL, which is coming out. I want the world to know. Just a couple of weeks left till NHL 19, which I don't want to be part and parcel with the hype machine, okay? But it's just that I'm excited about hockey season. Even though my team sucks. I'm like, because you know what it is? Is there's an entertainment gulf in my life, and any other sports fans can relate to this, I'm sure. But for 6 or 7 months of the year, at 7 p.m. until 9 p.m., there's something I can turn on and be like, oh, I wonder how, you know, the team's doing. Oh, 4-0 against. Okay, sure. But hey, you know, we can still watch. Maybe Elias Pettersson will get a goal. You know, there's a storyline to follow. It's almost like a D&D campaign. And then when it's off, I'm like, man, there's nothing. I gotta watch documentaries, play flight sims. I'm gonna bring, you know, it took until episode 3 until I brought something about the game industry up. I'm gonna bring it up again, okay? There's been a lot of hype for the CD Projekt Red game, Cyberpunk 2077. They released a 48-minute real gameplay demo. That was terrible damage. It looks awesome. But I have... 99% of the tweets I saw were positive, okay? Extreme, like, effusive praise. People being like, this looks like the greatest game I've ever seen. And I don't necessarily disagree. But then I saw a couple of tweets from people, and they all have the same sentiment, and this happens every friggin' E3, in particular, is the worst. I saw a couple of tweets from people that are like, I don't see why people are being negative about Cyberpunk 2077. You know, when there's something truly miraculous in our industry, just let people enjoy it. I have to point out, being skeptical about the marketing material that has been released for a consumer product does not make you a cynic or a curmudgeon or a grumpy person. It makes you realistic. Not because you think it's going to be bad, but because you know that you can't always trust the marketing material for a video game at face value. It's how people get burned over and over and over again. I hate the idea that if you're overly, or you appear to be overly skeptical about something that's unreleased, somehow you're like policing other people's fun. Not the case. I got frustrated sometimes during our E3 coverage because I'd be like, yeah, it looks okay, but there's no way that that's real gameplay. People, can't you just let people enjoy things? And then, you know, at release, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not... Sometimes it dips below 60 FPS, but, you know, it's still really fun. And people go, below 60 FPS, I would never sully my computer's hard drive by even installing or allocating the disk space for such garbage. Same game. Same game. Maybe my head's screwed on backwards, though. Anyway, that was on my mind today. Please feel free to be excited about Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not excited for it, because it's been a long time. Well, it's not true. I was going to say it's been a long time since I've been physically, like, I felt the sensation of excitement for a video game. That's not true. It's just, I never feel it, you know, 3 years out from release anymore. I'm never like, oh, I can't wait until I'm in 12th grade and I can play No Man's Sky, you know? I'm more like, if something comes out tomorrow and it looks awesome, I get that itch. I'm like, I gotta get my hands on that as soon as possible. But if, you know, it's so far away, I'm like, you know, I got other things to be excited about. Like my 30th birthday.
The Hanged Man.
And now it's your birthday. It's not, I mean, you don't have to wish me a happy birthday. It's not for several months, but, like, you know, it's on the docket, is all I'm saying. My brain does not understand how to dodge these shots. Thank God. And the devil deal. With 9 lives, we're going for broke here. Absolutely. I do kind of want to steal an item from Boss Rush. We're at 1810. It is a theoretical possibility, and I'm going to pursue that because we have our teleport card available already. I think we have the DPS to do it. Now, one day we're going to have to do Boss Rush, of course, but, you know, when you have 1 HP, rarely is that going to be the right time. Anyway, I'm just like, I haven't talked about it because there's no drama involved whatsoever, but, you know, that's part of the reason for me that, you know, everybody that opted out of Roundtable did it for different reasons. A predominant one for everybody is busyness, you know, in this industry, and, you know, I'm sure this is true in probably every industry. When you say yes to something and you make a habit of doing it on a weekly basis, eventually something's gotta give, you know? Roundtable was every Friday. I added streams on every Tuesday. And we still have the NLSS Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Stream with my wife on Thursdays, and until recently Saturdays. I got videos for YouTube. Every time you start a YouTube series, you know, that's 1 video a day until the series is over. So, like, once you add something, it's sticky. So I think pretty much, okay, fine. Pretty much everybody was like, we're doing maybe like a little bit too much. But the other thing for me is that, like, dude, I feel very blessed that you can be in the video gaming industry without caring about the business of video games. That was not a role. You know what? Yes. Well, I guess we should have obviously taken both. But I got... Okay, you know what? We will take both then. And we'll quickly mosey on over to Boss Rush here. But that was a role... Ooh, these are good. That did not exist. You know what? Maybe we'll try to fight it, because we could knock it off the post-it note. If we get hit, and then we just die anyway and get sent elsewhere. But when I was 14, 15, even until like very recently, if you wanted to be in the video gaming industry, you'd have to be like, today's NPD power numbers, what does this mean for, you know, Funko Land? Who cares? I'm so thankful that, like, I no longer have to, and this is not, again, meant as a shot at Roundtable or that, you know, that style of podcasting at all, but, like, I really got disillusioned to some extent. Like, how many podcasts does the industry need where, like, 4 people get on and all give their opinion on, like, one relatively minor piece of news? I think that's where my, and I'm thankful, like, it kind of, like, it illuminated for me. For a while, I was like, I don't like talking about gaming news that much. I'm sorry we died there, but it was also expected. Because I just don't care at this point. You know, every week it's kind of... I became jaded to it, because I'm like, it's the same news stories. You know, it's... Ubisoft DLC. You know, the premium version of this game is $500. They're selling a katana costume, and it's $30. Is this okay? And I'm like, dude, I just, you know, I owe it to you guys watching, but I'm thankful that I can exist, you know, and play games, and have an opinion on stuff in the industry that I can bring up, you know, when I feel it's important or at my discretion. But I'm just, like, so over everybody needs to be, like, a vanguard for gamers. Like, if it weren't for this podcast, and this is not the way anybody on Roundtable feels, but I do get this vibe from some other personalities sometimes. It's like, if it weren't for this podcast, game developers and publishers who are incredibly malicious and only want your money would be bending you over at every interval. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I'm thankful that because of your support, I can mostly, you know, play games that I like instead of spotlighting games that I don't, and I can, well, it's a bit of an opt-out, but basically I can focus on entertaining instead of infotaining, which is like, you know, here's the news, but also, you know, to get clicks I've got to be entertaining, so... It might be slightly misinformed or distorted or etc., etc. You get the idea. Anyway, that's most of the... I was happy to do Roundtable. I like working with Bear, Mathis, and Nick. But, not so much, just over gaming news. Like, I just don't care. It's been the same thing for, like, 4 years. How many times can you be like, is this season pass too expensive? This game looks good, now it's come out and it's bad. This game looks bad, now it comes out and it's decent, you know? I was guilty of it too, you know? Of course, but that's my 2 cents on Roundtable. But the other one is like, you know, I've been taking Saturdays off, and it's changed my life. Like, sincerely, my stress levels are so much lower, just as a result of the fact that I know I have like one day where I don't have to do anything. And it's really stupid that I didn't build this into my life earlier. Probably should have taken it, I guess, but we did take Curse of the Tower already, so we don't necessarily have to take it. But, you know, in order for there to be a day off, especially with now like an 8-hour stream on Tuesdays, there has to be a casualty somewhere else. And it's always going to be like somebody's favorite thing. So it's just, it is what it is. My 2 cents. And now we awkwardly transition into, I don't know, something else like, hey, what do you prefer, dry farts or wet farts? See? I just like that more. I guess in my heart, I'm an entertainer, not an informer. I hope, at least. That's what I endeavor to be. I guess it's up to other people whether or not I fulfill either of those roles. Regardless, though. That's why I like, you know, PAX is this weekend, as mentioned. And I used to go to PAX. This is no joke. Probably the first PAX East I went to, I made like 25 appointments in advance. And then on the airplane, I researched every single one of the games and wrote down like interview questions to ask the developers. So I'd be like, oh, what was your inspiration for like this particular mechanic? And they'd be like, like Castlevania. And you'd be like, yeah, I know. I knew it before I even asked the question. The game's called like Symphony of the Fight. And then, you know, again, no ill will at all towards anybody who does this. Like, I'm glad there's people out there doing it, so that if the content turns out good, I can watch it. But after I got back from that PAX, I was like, that sucked. And, you know, people would approach me, because I'm extremely famous, and they would be like, hey, NL, I love your videos. And I would be like, thanks, dude. I can't talk right now. I gotta go interview an indie game developer about, like, the grappling hook mechanic in his new game. You know? It felt bad. Now, when I go to PAX, I book... Don't do it. I book no appointments, and then if a game looks cool, I go check it out. And if they go, hey, sorry, the line's capped for today, I go, you know what? You're doing the Lord's work, keeping crowds safe here at PAX West. Have a good day. Hope you've had a good show so far. It's not like, I need to get this scoop. And then if somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, are you Northernlion? I'm like, yeah, we already both know that. That's okay. I appreciate you asking for confirmation. We can have an actual conversation with one another and be like, oh, I really like Darkest Dungeon and you're using Finale incorrectly. And I'd be like, thank you for the feedback. I've never heard that before. Would you like to get a photograph? And it's better. It's much better this way. I think for everybody. 2017 and 2018 for me have been like very much about kind of coming to terms with my role in the video gaming industry and recognizing that I think I'm better off, and this is very self-inflating, but I think I'm better off being like kind of like the Larry David of video gaming than I am being like the Dan Rather. You deserve a video gaming Dan Rather, but it can't be me. And that's for the best for all of us. Maybe you also deserve a video gaming Larry David, who will be like, why is it when you order a bagel with cream cheese, they always put way too much cream cheese on it? You'd think with cream cheese being expensive, they would give you a thin layer. But if you go to a place and you order a bagel with cream cheese, they always give you like 3 times as much cream cheese as you would put on it at home. Was there like a symposium that, you know, every deli went to 30 years ago and was like, you want to keep customers coming back, don't skimp on the cream cheese? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But I'm happy about it, because I'm going to be honest, part of the reason, you know, I enjoy it is because I would never put that much cream cheese on my bagel at home. In fact, I don't even eat bagels because, you know, I'm trying to... I recognize you could fit them into a balanced diet, but I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just abstain. You know, because you ever see that article that was like one bagel has the same amount of carbohydrates as like 6 pieces of bread? And I was like, yeah, but it's as delicious as 4 pieces of bread. So it's kind of a decent trade, don't you think? Now I'm eating like, you know, fiber-enriched crisp bread from the Scandinavian region. But part of the reason, you know, I would never put that much cream cheese on is for health-related purposes. The other one is, the more cream cheese you put on, the less you got for the next bagels in the pack. We'll watch the ending here. So when the restaurant does it for me, I'm like, yes, thank you. Rubber cement. Amazing. I do like that item. I appreciate it. Happy to have it early. You unlock Shadow Barbie. The rubber cement. I didn't realize we were dealing with the rubber cement. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya.